you know, I got to tell you, I mean, I've got a problem with this monetization by the incoming president. I mean, as I understand, it's going to cost like $2 million.
And $3 million, Steve, is what it costs a year just to build the place out. That's just to put in all the electronics, and that's for the rent. And then, of course, you've got several hundred Secret Service men that'll be guarding on the first floor and all the other floors. And so we're talking about, I'd have to guess $5 million a year just for Trump to live in this one location versus going down to the White House that has been, as you said, wired and protected where all the presidents normally live. It's great to have a second vacation home, but boy, he's sure running up an expense on that home, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And I mean, it's just the whole monetization conflict of interest issue that really sort of puzzled me. And because he says, hey, I'll be president and there won't be any conflict. I can't have a conflict because I'm president.
Well,
Explain that to me.
Of course, he can have a conflict, and that's one of the big issues. We never had a president that had business dealings all over the world. Each president this has come up with each president. Of course, John Kennedy's the best example. Maybe he didn't have the business interest, but he was the beneficiary of a trust that his father set up and that had business interest, in a number of other countries. But no one has approached the focus of Donald Trump, who is either have locations worldwide or is in the process of negotiating deals worldwide. And my wife and I sat down last night and with some friends, they said, well, what's the conflict? I mean, he's got a right to have his family carry on his business. I said, well, maybe so, but you can't take a call from some higher up in, say, Japan, and they're asking for more protection and more weapons and you say, oh, by the way, sure, we'll see what we can do on that. By the way, I sure need that permit speeded up on our new building, our new construction over there in Tokyo. That crosses the line, and that's what a number of people are concerned may happen. But I think we got to approach those issues one at a time. And if Trump gets close to the line or his family gets close to the line, you can certainly count on the press taking a good swat at his focus of not being quite as concerned about ethics. And so as a consequence, that's just going to have to wear out. I mean, he said, he is president. There is a conflict statute that applies to Congress. I think there was just an assumption that it would also apply to the president, but legally it does not apply to the president. Trump is, as you said, exempt from many of the conflicts of interest in terms of self-dealing that members of Congress have to abide by. And so, as I say, you just assume the president will abide by those decisions. We've never had a president like this guy. We never had the family connections. We never had the business connections. And so we're going to have to play this a month at a time, and I'm sure there'll be lots of discussion about it, Steve. Right now, it's a very gray area, and Trump has not put to rest a lot of those who are concerned by saying, look, I'm going to abide by the same standards as Congress. He just says, look, in fact, I saw an article yesterday where he said he felt like he could run his business like he has been right out of the Oval Office without any problem at all. And so I don't know what kind of a backlash.
I mean, you can't do that. I mean, I'm sorry. It's like saying the Hillary Clinton saying, hey, yeah, I can run a Secretary of State office, and also run this foundation. I mean, you just can't do that. For example, when he had the conversation with the gentleman, the President of Argentina, and then I think a day or two after that, all of a sudden, one of his hotels got approved. I mean,
well, you don't know. I mean, I guess if I'm the president of Argentina and I'm trying to have a good relationship with the new president and ask for foreign aid and a variety of help that we give to so many countries, if he was building a hotel, I guess that you can't. Wouldn't be surprising the president would hurry up the process and get the thing done in Argentina. Now I think where the line is crossed where Trump makes that request. Look, Mr. President, I need to get this process moved up. And if he does it on his own, Steve, it's just a gray area. So does Trump say, oh, no, I wanted you to turn down the approval? And does he get into all those details? And so, like I say, we're great around him.
Okay, so let's look at what Hillary Clinton and Clinton Foundation. I mean, there were people who got to meet with, at least asked to meet with Clinton. There were Bill Clinton, got paid certain amounts of money to give speeches, and everybody complained about that. I mean, certainly those people who were voting for Trump complained about it, and they had a right to do so. So, I mean, now we have a situation where it's not just Secretary of State, but President of the United States has control over education and and domestic policies, etc. I mean, this is an incredible opportunity, and now he's charging the Secret Service to I mean for his wife and child to live there in the towers. Well, I mean, this is unprecedented, but I mean, you can just tell, hey, this smells.
Well, there is a tradition of presidents being able to have a second home. You go back as far back as one can remember. You go back to Franklin Roosevelt, Eisenhower. You had Jimmy Carter kept his home with Secret Service protection, where they put a lot of equipment and build houses and everything down in Plains, Georgia. They did that with Ronald Reagan out in his ranch in California. They did that with George Bush at his ranch that is located down in Texas. But we've never seen it go to the extent that it's going here right now. As I say, it's one thing to build a house and have a Secret Service office down in a little farm in Texas, but when you're going into the center of the biggest city in America, right down on Fifth Avenue, the most expensive area, the busiest area in America, some of the busiest in the world, and set the president down there. It's just unprecedented. It's never been done before. So Trump will say, look, you did it for past presidents. You need to do it for me. You gave all this protection to past presidents' family. You need to do it for me. And so, but the question at this stage has not been raised. Yeah, but what is reasonable? If you want to have a second home down at Mar-a-Lago, your biggest state down in Florida, that's one thing. When you're doing it right down in New York City at a huge cost, that's another thing. That debate has not been brought up at this stage by Republicans or Democrats alike. Now, Steve, it's just been announced, and he's not in office yet. But you can tell that it's not just a hot issue on Bayou Buzz with Steve and Jim. It's also a big issue to people throughout the country. There's a lot of things that are yet to be defined. And so this is going to be an ongoing debate. Trump has decided he could nip it in the bud by saying, here's my parameters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But he just kind of says, well, we're just going to do what they've done in the past. And cost doesn't seem to be a factor for him. So we'll have a chance to see what kind of reaction there are from Democrats and Republicans alike. Will they let this slide through? So we live right here in Louisiana, where there was a variety of things along similar lines that Bobby Jindal did, that the voters just kind of let it slide through. So did the Democrats. So it's a question of where there'll be some backbone in members of Congress to stand up. You and I both agree on what should be done, but so far the president says, I'm not really playing by those same rules, the president-elect, and we're going to spend that kind of money. So will America be tolerant of it? Time will tell. Time will tell.